I know we had to hit this point eventually, but I was hoping it was way further down in the season. But no, unfortunately it's happening now at the beginning of one. Bummer. But you know what? We've dealt with pretty average episodes before, and at least this one has one really funny aspect. So, while I do think this episode is average and not very good, it does have one really great part of it that I am excited to talk about. So, for better or for worse, let's dive in. What's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Animation Station, your number station for anything and everything animation, including two superheroes fighting crime on the other side of the world, as well as TV and movies. I'm your host, Jackson Small. Welcome back to Miraculous March 4. Let's talk about Season 4, Episode 5 of Miraculous, titled Psycomedian. This is an episode that, believe it or not, actually took a while for me to actually find it and watch it, because for whatever weird reason, not only does Netflix not have these episodes in order at all, so it's a pain to find it, but also because even trying to find it online through like YouTube or Google searches or anything like that, it just brings up clips. So it took a while for me to actually find somewhere that actually had this one, so yeah, that does kind of play into my thoughts on it a little bit because it was such a pain to find, but once I found it and once I watched it, I cooled off. So I'm not going to be too harsh on this episode, but I am going to say right now it is a steep drop off after the previous two before it. So, okay. What's the one great thing about this episode I can talk about? The one great thing about this episode that I absolutely really, really like. Angry Ladybug. See, Psycomedian has this power where he's able to manipulate your emotions through just looking at you. And while it seemed like they found the akumatized object when they took the nose off, it turns out that's not the Akuma, and Ladybug ends up getting into the power of this Psycomedian. The Psycomedian decides to use rage for her power. And this carries on through the entire episode. So the entire episode we have an angry, fed up Ladybug just trying to get through this as quick as possible, and also having no control over her actual emotions. Like, later on in the episode, she makes a lucky charm, and she immediately stomps on it. Now, usually this could come off as frustrating or annoying, because, you know, it's the usual character personality flip cliche. But what makes it hilarious, and almost saves this entire episode, is Christina V's voice acting, as she gets to act very much like Veronica from Hell of a Boss, her other most well-known animated voice and character, and just go absolutely ballistic on everyone involved. Like, you have Ladybug fighting extremely angry at Psycomedian and throwing cars. Yeah, like an angsty teenager. And then you have her back and forth with Cat Noir, how she doesn't lose the power even after she gets de-transformed back into Marinette. So, Cat Noir has to literally tie her up and lug her around on his stick to get to where they need to go, and he keeps trying to not get butthurt over her words, because he knows deep down she doesn't actually mean it. It's just the ability of the villain of the week messing with her head. And it is absolutely hilarious seeing Marinette act so legitimately just rageful and angry. Like, I can't be the only one that sometimes thinks of Goku, right? Whenever I think of like an angry, rageful character, yeah. Think like that, but having no actual emotional control. So like, Goku going Super Saiyan for the first time on Planet Namek. And yes, this is an apt comparison because Jeremy Zag has said that this show is inspired by Dragon Ball. So, don't at me in the comments. Like, that first time when Goku turned Super Saiyan on Planet Namek, he is just straight up angry and rageful. Primal, if you will. And he just goes absolutely ballistic on Frieza. And heck, he even yells at his own son when he stares at there in shock rather than listening to his words. Like, It's like that kind of angry that you see in Marinette in this episode, and it is a drastic change of character, but because of Christina V's talent as a voice actress, it really amplifies it to becoming hilarious. So, yeah. By far the best part of the episode's Angry Ladybug. It is hilarious, it is a very drastic change of character, but it is a very good drastic change of character. Because it's just this one time, and it's caused by the Akumatai's villain's abilities. It's pretty funny. So, yeah, but unfortunately after that, that's kind of where the positives of this episode end, as the rest of it is bland, subpar, and kind of run-of-the-mill, honestly. So, yeah, with all that said and done, here's my final thoughts on the episode. I hope you enjoy. Following two back-to-back great episodes, we unfortunately have one of the weaker ones. Yes, Marinette acting angry is hilarious, and it's easy to tell how much fun Christina V was having in the vocal booth with this drastic character change. But everything else around this episode is pretty average. Story's bland, most of the other jokes fall flat, writing is subpar, action is run-of-the-mill, and the Psycomedian himself, while he brings about one of the funniest things I've seen in Miraculous, as a villain overall, he's pretty boring. Angry Ladybug is funny, but just not enough to save it. Without that, it's a one-and-done snoozer, and because of that, final word for this episode is a dead average 5 out of 10. Bummer, huge drop-off from the previous two great episodes, but you know what? It's fine. It's perfectly watchable once you can find out where to actually watch the thing. Like I said, it took forever for me to actually find it. So, yeah, it's an average episode, it's a disappointing episode, but Angry Ladybug is enough to mostly save it. Which is more than I can say for our next review because, oh boy. Like I said, I watched 3 episodes today, and this last one I watched might just be the worst episode I've seen in all of Miraculous. Yes, worse than Volpina, believe it or not. It is an episode that angers me to my very core. It is an episode that frustrated me all the way through. And it is an episode with pretty much no redeeming quality. It is the first episode of this show I'm going to call outright garbage. So, yep. See you next time for that disaster.